watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello, and welcome to GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm your host, Ternice Anderson. Each week, we discuss topics important to our diverse community. Memphis is home to a world-renowned medical community, thanks in part to the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. There are 6 colleges within the Memphis campus, and today we will explore 3 of them. We'll start with the College of Medicine. Here to speak with me is Dr. Michael Witt, Associate Dean and Chair of Medical Education for the college. Dr. Witt, thank you so much for doing this interview with me today.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of medical school?
Sure. Medical school actually dates back to 1911. It was a land-grant college and has developed over the years to really encompass all aspects of health science professions. So not only medicine, but pharmacy, dentistry, nursing, allied health. So really the whole gamut of health careers.
How does someone know if medical school is right for them?
That's a great question. Entering the medical profession is something that I think, in general, people have a passion about and really feel strongly about it, maybe from experiences dealing with a sick grandparent or, having siblings who were ill. It's a hard career, but absolutely rewarding. And I think people just have a feeling that this is what I want to do. If you have a passion to help people, certainly medicine is the right career for you.
How difficult is it to get into medical school?
It is somewhat challenging. The applicants are typically outstanding students. So certainly, if you're considering going to medical school, you need to go to college, get an undergraduate degree. You don't necessarily have to have a major in the biological sciences. So we have medical students who, for instance, were English majors or accounting majors. And you want to always enjoy your time in college. Learn as much as you can, but always keep your eye on the prize, which is, I want to be a physician, or I want to be a physician assistant or a nurse. Anything in the healthcare field. Certainly for medicine, it's quite rigorous, but there's lots of information, and you want to make sure that you, again, keep your eye on the prize, which is my goal is to help people, and I can do that through applying to medical school.
How should I prepare before going to medical school?
Well, again, you would be, as I said, in college. Typically in your sophomore and junior years, you want to start interacting with physicians. So either, shadowing a physician, maybe being a scribe. A scribe is someone that will transcribe notes for the physicians. Any interaction that you have to show not only are you a good student and you can maintain grades in the rigors of medical school, but to show that you really have a passion for helping people. Obviously, you want to prepare well for taking the MCAT, the basically medical school entrance exam. And again, interacting with physicians, asking, to the opportunity to shadow, and then get letters of recommendation from those physicians.
Can you give us a layout of the curriculum for the College of Medicine?
Certainly. So we actually have two pathways. One is our traditional 4-year curriculum. The first 2 years are what we call the preclinical phase. So you're in classes, you're learning about diseases and how organs function. We also have a course that we call Principles in Clinical Medicine that you take during the first 2 years. It teaches you how to do a physical exam, for example, and it involves a lot of what we call simulation, also with standardized patients. And then in your third and fourth year, you enter into the clinics where you're rotating on hospital wards. And we have what we call 7 core clerkships. So this is pediatrics, internal medicine, psychiatry, neurology, surgery, and family medicine, which is kind of an overview of kind of all aspects. So you can do OB as well. Then in your fourth year, you do what we call electives, where you get to choose kind of what area of medicine you'd like to have your practice in. And it's during that time that you really decide what you want to do so you can apply to the appropriate residency program. So after 4 years of medical school, you then go into residency where you get additional training. For our really top-notch students, we have a 3-year accelerated curriculum. So medical school does cost a lot of money. Students have to take out loans. This 3-year accelerated program, which we just started this year, allows students to eliminate basically 1 year of debt, but it also allows students to get basically pre-acceptance into a residency program. So we feel it's a way that we can really keep our best students here in Tennessee to treat the patient population here in Memphis or across the state.
Last week, the College of Medicine was honored by the city. What does this mean for the college and for the students?
That was really just a tremendous honor. The Dean of the College of Medicine, Dr. Scott Strom, as well as Dr. John McCullers, who is our really chief executive of the college and for clinical activities, were honored by Mayor Strickland for all the work that the college has done in setting up the COVID vaccination and testing centers across the city. The College of Medicine was the first location to offer vaccines early in the COVID pandemic. So it just shows how the College of Medicine impacts the community, and just a tremendous honor. And we were really proud of all those students and faculty who participated in that vaccination.
Well, Dr. Witt, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure. We hope to have some Germantown graduates matriculate to the College of Medicine, and I'd be happy to speak with anyone who has questions.
We have to take a short break. When we return, we'll learn about the College of Pharmacy.
GHS-TV started in 1982, and it was just a couple of cameras, a couple of on-air personality, and it's really grown into what you see today. It's a multi-million-dollar studio with top-of-the-line technology.
Being able to operate, all of the machinery in the control room, being able to use all of our software and hardware that we have around the studio, is a great skill because this is top-of-the-line equipment.
I feel like this class has brightened my horizon. It's something that I never thought I would be doing, especially as a student.
GHS-TV is probably one of the most hands-on experiences a student will ever get in their lifetime.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. Nothing really has just the vibe that we have here.
Especially after you finish, you get a real rush of, wow, I just did that.
By the time a student graduates from Germantown High School, they will know pretty much every position there is, from producing to directing to on-air work.
You learn time management, you learn organization, you learn how to work with people, how to better communicate with people.
We put a lot on them, and they have to be able to have the responsibility and the knowledge to get everything that we ask them.
I had very little experience, so in the past 3 years, the skills that I've learned have absolutely exponentially grown.
The class has actually helped me figure out that I want to go to college for journalism.
When a student graduates, they are the best possible version of themselves that they can be.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. The UTHS College of Pharmacy is Tennessee's highest-ranked college of pharmacy. The school is ranked number 17 by U.S. News and World Report, out of more than 140 pharmacy schools across the country. Joining me now is Dr. Chastity Shelton, Dean of the College of Pharmacy. Dr. Shelton, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Thank you for having me.
What does a pharmacist do?
Well, that is a loaded question. There's a lot of things that pharmacists can do. A lot of times what the community and people are aware of is probably more of the retail or community chain pharmacy is what we call it, like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Target. But pharmacy is actually a lot broader than that. We have people who practice in a variety of areas. You can go into specialty pharmacy. I actually specialize in pediatric pharmacy and work at a children's hospital, but also in academia, teaching at a college of pharmacy. We have people working in industry who do drug development, who work with the FDA for clinical trials. So there's lots of different things you can do as a pharmacist. And so it's kind of a very broad career path because the sky's the limit really on what you can do as a pharmacist.
What is the admissions process like to get into pharmacy school?
So we have 2 years, roughly 2 years prerequisites that students have to meet. And typically the general science requirements, because it is a science profession, so a lot of general chemistry, organic chemistry, those type of courses, in addition to your foundational English comp and things like that. But we do have a centralized application system called PharmCast that students can apply to. They can choose to apply to any college of pharmacy that utilizes that system. So it's kind of nice because they can apply to multiple schools or colleges of pharmacy using that one system. We also do at UT, we do an on-site interview. We also do have virtual option interviews right now just because of the COVID pandemic. So we've kind of expanded out and allowed students to be able to interview via Zoom. So it's an interview process, and then once they get accepted, they pay their deposit to hold their spot in the class, and then we welcome them in August.
Well, Dr. Shelton, what is the life of a pharmacist like?
I think it depends on the path you choose. I know for me personally, my role is traditionally more of a Monday through Friday type job, but I also do sometimes pick up extra shifts at the hospital on the evenings and weekends. A lot of our community partners have rotating schedules where they'll work weekends, days or evenings, depending upon the schedule. So it kind of depends. I think the cool thing about being a pharmacist is that you never know what kind of patient is going to walk in the door. You can have, a variety of different things that come into either the pharmacy itself. We're one of the most accessible healthcare providers, so I think it's kind of nice. We're easy to access by the public, so a lot of people come into the pharmacy because we are so accessible, and so you just never know what you're going to get when they walk in the door, which kind of keeps, I think, from a professional standpoint, it kind of keeps things interesting because you're always having to stay on your toes. Because you don't know what's going to come in. I know in the hospital setting, again, a variety of patients that come into the hospital. I work in the pediatric ICU, so we have a lot of different interesting disease states that end up in the unit and stuff and everything. So I think it kind of depends on what you do. We have people who work in labs who do drug design and development, trying to come up with new medications, those kind of things. So it just kind of varies depending upon what career path you choose.
What is the curriculum for the College of Pharmacy?
So we have a 4-year traditional pathway. So after they do their minimum of 2 years of prereqs, and once they do the admissions process and formally get admitted, we have a 4-year, it's a doctorate of pharmacy, so it is a doctoral degree. We actually just started this past year, we were very excited, a 3-year accelerated program. So it's a 3-year pathway where students can apply in the fall semester of their first year, and they can actually, if they meet the minimum requirements and they also are selected, then they can actually potentially finish their PharmD degree in 3 years. We also, with the curriculum as well, we offer a lot of different opportunities for dual degree. So we have a lot of students who will complete their MBA while they're doing their PharmD. We have a Master's of Public Health. We have a Master's of Health Informatics Management. We also have some students who choose to get a PhD as well as the PharmD. That typically takes a minimum of 6 years total to get both degrees, but it is a way for students to be able to get a dual PhD as well in a shorter time period. So lots of different opportunities in the curriculum. We try to individualize the experience based on what the students' needs and interests are. We also have certificate programs where students can do nuclear pharmacy if they want to practice in nuclear pharmacy, which is a totally different area as well, working with making radioactive medications for radiation and things like that.
How high is your research activity?
We actually have a lot of research in our college. We are kind of a research-intensive institution. Our students are offered opportunities to participate in research in many different ways. We have traditional lab-based researchers. We have people like me who work either with the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, so using the classroom as my research lab, and also with pediatric or just clinical practice in general. Personally, I have experience in clinical practice research with pediatrics, but a lot of our clinical faculty do research within their own clinical practice area.
Well, Dr. Shelton, thank you so much for doing this interview with me today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Stay tuned. When we return, I'll speak with the Dean of College of Graduate Health Sciences. Don't go away.
It's very fun to be in band, trust me. It's so much fun.
When I was an 8th grader and I saw them march and I was like, wow, I need to be a part of this.
Our main performing group is the varsity band. That encompasses our marching band and our varsity concert band. We also have the jazz ensemble.
It's unique, so we're really lucky to have that.
I'm very methodical about teaching. I try to stay up to date because I want my students to have the best information that I can pass along to them.
He's excellent. He commands a sort of drive that we didn't exactly have.
I lead the class, but I also believe in the students self-assessing their work.
The leadership is led by the students. We lead most of the practices. It's basically just student-led.
And I think that's important for them to take that kind of ownership.
If you want to be a musician, you gain extremely important music skills, music techniques.
1, 2, 3.
There's so many opportunities for fellowship, and band is a family. And you develop that small community where you support each other, not only musically, but in many ways.
Really, without the band, the football games would be lame. Without the band, you wouldn't really have the pep rallies. The band is like a good foundation for the school spirit. If you want to join band, just do it.
I think band was the best part of my high school career.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. I'm Ternice Anderson. This week we are learning more about the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. The College of Graduate Health Sciences is home to 10 PhD and master's programs, ranging from nursing to biomedical engineering. Joining me now is Dr. John Cox, Associate Dean from the College of Graduate Health Sciences. Dr. Cox, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for asking me.
Most of your job deals with teaching. Do you have a particular teaching philosophy?
Well, first of all, most of the faculty in graduate health sciences, they're both researchers and teachers. As teachers, we are educating students that are getting their master's and PhD degrees, and we try to push them to think broadly about what their science means and how they can, take the next step in discovery.
What type of research and teaching is your favorite?
Well, my favorite is what I do, but we have a very broad spectrum of research in the graduate health sciences. As you said, we have 10 different programs that lead to master's and PhD degrees. I personally work in infectious disease and look at the mechanisms that contribute to chlamydia infections in our population, which is still the major cause of sexually transmitted disease in the U.S.
What are some interesting projects that students are working on currently?
Well, we found out recently that chlamydia is different than almost all other bacteria, and they divide in a novel way. And we've long been interested in whether we could potentially develop new therapeutic approaches to treat chlamydia infections. So if we can understand the molecular details of how chlamydia divide, we hope to be able to target those steps to specifically inhibit chlamydia infection and help those individuals that could go on to have pretty serious outcomes, in women particularly, where they can develop infertility.
Are there any volunteer programs that you all have?
We have many programs that our students participate in, trying to give back to the community. That's mostly organized by our Graduate Student Executive Council. It's a group of students that they try to coordinate all the activities for our graduate students in the college. But more importantly, they try to reach out to community providers and see if they can contribute and help in any way in a whole bunch of fronts, nothing in particular.
What is a typical day like for a graduate student?
It changes a little bit as they progress through their PhD program. I mean, I'm involved with the PhD program, and in their first year, they're taking pretty many courses to satisfy the sort of curricular demands of the program. But as they progress, our average PhD is 5.5 years, which is really about the national average. And the last maybe 3.5 or 4 years are all bench research. They're attempting to uncover new details in the projects they're working on that, all pointed towards, improving human health.
Well, Dr. Cox, what should I do to prepare to get my PhD degree?
Well, I think we have very different types of PhD programs. We have PhD programs or master's programs that are in data science, big data, where people analyze health data to try to think of better approaches to treat and provide care for patients. But some of our other programs are really more basic science. For instance, I'm in microbiology, immunology, and biochemistry. We have physiology, we have pharmacology, genetics. If you were to come into a department that I'm affiliated with, during the time that you're getting your undergraduate degree, you would definitely want to get some lab research experience. It's really critical because, as I said, the degree is a 5.5-year degree, and you don't want to find out 2 years down the road that you don't really like doing bench research. So you just want to expose yourself to it and let yourself find out if, it's a career path you might be interested in.
Speaking of career paths, what kind of careers can you get with a PhD or master's?
Well, it's very wide-ranging. We used to think when I started, or the vast majority of students that went through PhD in the basic sciences when I started, they were hoping to obtain a faculty position at some sort of institution of higher learning where they'd be able to pursue their research, but also they would be expected to teach and contribute to administration. I would say right now, maybe only 20% of our graduates take that path. A lot of them will go into industry. Many of them will go into government-related research. Or, if they just find a passion along the way, they use their degree. I mean, what I think of the degree providing to students that helps them most, it's the ability to be a critical thinker. And you can use that anywhere.
What type of level research is your college currently doing?
Well, most research at all institutions is either funded by the National Institutes of Health or the National Science Foundation, and both agencies fund research on our campus. Research is actually graded as BSL-1, BSL-2, BSL-3. Depends on the types of organisms or investigations you're carrying out. So my research isn't high risk, so it can be done just in my laboratory. But other research on campus, we have a biocontainment lab where investigations on viruses that are more inherently dangerous and we don't want circulating in the population, they're controlled there. And so we have varied types of research, and it's really carried out in different types of facilities depending upon the risk associated with it.
Well, Dr. Cox, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Everything you said was so informative.
Well, thank you, Trinice, and I hope to see you join our program someday.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to all my guests from the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. If you are interested in applying or just want to know more about our program, their program, go to uthsc.edu. And for more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we are streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Ternice Anderson. From all of us here at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.